Hello, everybody. Dear FinTechers, welcome to our event today, focusing on cloud technologies for opening in new markets. I want to start maybe by a short thank you to our great sponsors who are supporting this community. We have them around us. Today we have really a day full of content for you. We're going to hit it off with our Equitech founding partner, Nir Netzer, who's going to give a short overview about cloud adoption and what's going on really in the cloud trend, let's say, in opening new markets and then entering different regions. So, Nir?
Thank you, Tal. Hello, everybody. Welcome to FinTech-Aviv Cloud event. And I'm going to share my screen now, share with you a few slides as opening remarks. To summarize the last quarter, we had an unusual quarter with these COVID-19 days. And we wanted to have an event that will be in the topic of staying connected in these days. So we thought about cloud-based go-to-market strategies, and we are super happy to have our guests and speakers in this event. And actually, this quarter was a very special quarter for us because FinTech-Aviv was celebrating 6 years since its inception. We actually started our operations with the Israeli FinTech Association 6 years ago, back in 2014. It was April 2014 when we started. Back then, we had our first event in a small bar with 40 participants maybe. Nowadays, we are after 50 FinTech events on different FinTech topics. We have hosted on our stage more than 100 global speakers. And in the last 3 events, we hosted them virtually with our online-only events line, thanks to the situation. FinTech-Aviv event consists with 8,000 members, and they represent more than 750 FinTech startups. So we want to thank you all for being with us through the last 6 years, to our content contributors, our partners, and our loyal sponsors. Thanks for that. We highly appreciate your support also in these unusual days. And if we'll take a moment to summarize FinTech and what happened in the FinTech segment over the next 3-4 months, both in terms of investments and both in terms of sub-verticals of FinTech that got a leap and got a very good push, actually thanks to the COVID-19 situation. So if we take a minute to examine this, I think we're going to find out some really interesting findings. For example, in terms of FinTech investments in the first quarter of 2020, this was a very poor quarter. This is not surprising at all. This CB Insights report was just published earlier this week, and we see a huge drop in FinTech investments. And actually, in terms of deals, we went back to 2016 levels when we had in this quarter only 404 FinTech investments. And it's very similar to what happened back in the first quarter of 2016. In terms of funding, yeah, we also went back to the days of 2017. Actually, it's only $6 billion that were invested in this quarter in FinTech, and it's similar to Q2 2017. So we see that FinTech investments didn't go that well. And if we'll drill down to that and try to have a better analysis of what happened. So we see that venture capital and VCs basically took a step forward maybe to more mature investments, to growth stage investments. So they are not investing in seed stages these days. They are investing in more mature investments and in their existing portfolios, in follow-on investments, to basically back up the startups in their existing portfolios and previous investments they're made. A very interesting piece of information about this first quarter in terms of investments. We see that Revolut, the challenger bank, has tracked back in February almost $500 million out of these $6 billion that were invested in global FinTech. So this is a huge achievement that was made by Index Ventures and some other VCs. And we see that Revolut is not just there as a challenger bank. Actually, it's part of the necessity of these times. And if we take one more minute to examine what happened in these times in terms of subsegments of fintech that got really good traction. So definitely we can see the challenger banks are on the rise. And we see it's not just Revolut, it's many others that offering digital banking services and services such as digital payments, digital wallets, etc., that avoid us of using cash and touching paper money. So this is definitely a phenomenon of the last quarter. And our last event was about impact fintech. We were discussing the also payments ecosystem and how can government can pay, for example, governmental reliefs and different payments that are now paid in a non-cash environment. So yeah, digital payments and challenger banks, they're both backing up the cashless economy concept. And we see that this is what happened in the last quarter in a very obvious way. Also e-commerce, it's not just loans in the point of sale. It's not just installments in the checkout process. It's all the payments surrounding and other features that allow us to pay digitally and to get better payment terms in these days. Another sub-segment of fintech that got affected or got a real boost out of the COVID-19 situation is wealth tech and trading. Trading platforms, capital market, wealth technologies, they're all in a new game now. The stock exchanges, the capital markets are going crazy, super volatile these days. And we see that there are many solutions that are supporting this situation, both for corporates and end clients, allowing them to better trade in a safer environment and to know better, to get additional data, more information about their tradings. So I'm happy to announce also what we have done with the IL Interactive Trading. It's a structured collaboration that actually entitles our community members in 20% discount on all commissions by trading from their platform. So this is another thing we achieved in these crazy times, and hopefully this will benefit our community members for the good also in this aspect. Another sub-segment of fintech that got a real boost in this last quarter is RegTech and compliance. According to CB Insights report, this is one of the hottest topic of fintech. So it's not just KYC, know your client, or automatic onboarding. It's also all kind of processes that enables these financial institutions to comply to the existing regulation. So I think that there was a very good time to take a step backward and reassess, to think about the internal process, to make them more efficient. And if we're talking about AML regulation in the US market, if we're talking about GDPR, if it's MiFID 2 or PSD2, this is something that all the financial institutions are working on, and they all have to be compliant. So this was a very good opportunity to take the time and assess internally. Another sub-segment of fintech that got a really good boost thanks to the COVID situation is InsurTech. We saw that many insurance companies are selling, for example, mortgage insurance or life insurance. We believe that the communities all around the globe were a bit stressed out of these situations and search for new ways to have better insurance policies for the future. Either if it's for the near future, medium range, or long term, everybody are looking for opportunities of insurance and greater certainty maybe. So we see insurance companies that are issuing different policies, different onboarding processes that are done automatically. We talk about KYC. It's also InsurTech related. And it's not just that, it's also cyber insurance. And we saw just yesterday about EasyJet incident. We had a hack there There are many details, personal information and credit card information of different EasyJet clients that were stolen. So cyber insurance is also a sub-segment of FinTech that is on the rise thanks to that. But it's not just cyber, it's also biometrics. Imagine yourself walking now to your bank branch. You don't want to touch anything. You want the face recognition component to recognize you and to let you in. So basically, all the biometric system of face recognition, also thermal cameras, and all kind of this equipment are on the rise as well. We actually structure the collaboration lately with Safety Compass product. This is a product that allows different bank branches to measure your body temperature and to let you into the bank branch or to stop you at the door. So this is super important to comply with the current regulations. Otherwise, again, the banking industry and the financial industry wouldn't be compliant to the current situation. So they all want to adopt this kind of solution. This sub-segment is on the rise as well. And of course, lending platforms. It's both SMEs or B2C customer lending. We saw that the student market, for example, there is a huge demand for student loans in the US market. So we saw lending platforms from all kinds. It's P2P, B2B, or B2C that are on the rise thanks to the situation. Everybody are looking for liquidity and everybody is looking to improve their cash flow. So lending platforms are on the rise as well. Last sub-segment of FinTech, and this is what we're going to talk about today. And we saw a great opportunity to talk together with AWS, with our friends from Finastra and from Palo Alto, and also from Behalf, about cloud computing and about cloud processes for the financial industry. So according to a survey made by PwC, we see that 65% of the financial services compliant actually already adopted cloud-based security solutions. But it's not just about security. We see that cloud allows business agility in general. It's also scalability. It's about customer-centric design. It's about the open APIs approach. And they all lead to better and seamless communication with the end clients. Security brings to trust and adoption when you see that the scalability encourages innovation. The customer-centric design brings to greater efficiency and bigger client satisfaction. And the open API approach brings to cost reduction and improved performance. So I want to thank you all for being with us today. Thank our partners and sponsors for being with us for the last 6 years. Thank our community members for joining us each and every session. And I hope you enjoy this evening. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Nir. Thank you very much. This was a very good kickoff for our event, a great overview. I'd like to ask our next keynote speaker. We have with us Catherine Van Nies, FinTech Startup and Venture Capital Business Development at Amazon Web Services. Catherine, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I hope you can see me broadcasting from my parents' house as I'm based in New York City and kind of left the city for some space. But very excited to be here today to talk to you a little bit about how AWS is partnering and supporting FinTech startups of all stages. So I'm going to share my screen now. You can see my presentation. There we go.
Yes, we can. Great.
Great. Okay, excellent. So as mentioned, I'm Catherine Van Nies. I lead FinTech for the global startup and venture capital business development team. And we're essentially, I'm part of a much larger global team of former founders, investors, operators, and really mentors. And we're here to help our highest potential and really startups in general build on AWS and get the right resources and support from the very earliest stages all the way through the different phases of your growth. I'm going to do that in a variety of ways. I'm going to talk a little bit more deeply about specific programs, but just to set the stage, we often invest indirectly alongside partner venture capital funds, accelerators, incubators, and even partner organizations. So we provide AWS credits, we invest our time. It's worth noting, because the venture capital is in our name, sometimes people think we also take equity positions. We don't invest cash, but we do invest the time of our business development team, account managers, perhaps most importantly, solutions architects, and the expert technical guidance that you're going to need to help you build your business. We often have office hours, so you can come in and meet directly with these solutions architects to help you as you're thinking about architecting on AWS. And we also bring to bear all the different resources within AWS and across the broader Amazon.com. So we can also help connect startups where relevant to other business units. And you'll hear from one of our customers later on today, behalf, who we did just that for. So as we talk into the programs, one of the most relevant ones is for the Tel Aviv residents or startups building there is Builder Space. This is a program for early stage startups who want to accelerate their speed to market. And so right now the program is being offered in an online rolling format. And so we offer access to AWS technical and business experts, investors, and industry advisors. So if you're a founder of an early stage startup, please feel free to apply via the link. You can also just look it up online or the QR code. And of course, if you have any questions, just reach out to your local AWS contact. And now here's a sampling of some of our startup programs that are going to be relevant for you. The first and perhaps most important one right now is AWS Activate. And so this is a program that has a variety of benefits that are designed to give you a mix of tools and expert support to help you succeed. So we're looking at helping optimize performance, manage your risk, and also keeping costs under control, which is important in any environment and certainly today. So we provide credits, the technical support I talked about, training, and resources. So if you haven't taken advantage of this program yet, you can contact us or reach out to your investor or accelerator program for more details. We're happy to get you set up. Next, we have the AWS Partner Network, and you're going to hear from one of our partners, our customers today that went through the Partner Network and has had some great success. And this is really a program where we work with customers who also find value in going to market together with AWS. Ultimately, it's generally around winning more enterprise business. This is a little more of a B2B focused program. And this consists of opportunities for co-selling, co-marketing, referrals of other AWS customers, and programs that subsidize proof of concepts with your customers to help your startup just generally gain visibility and win more business. There's different tiers to this, and we can walk through with you how to be a partner and the different benefits, but a lot of information is online and we can certainly talk more about it. Then there's the AWS Marketplace. Think about it as an Amazon.com, but for software, where we make it really easy for customers to find, buy, deploy, and manage software solutions in just a matter of minutes. And so if you have a SaaS solution, you can leverage this marketplace to reach and sell to other AWS customers. We launched a financial services page for our marketplace listings last year and are seeing more and more success selling into line of business solutions for our financial services customers. Next, we have the AWS Data Exchange. And so this is a program that was launched, this is a marketplace that was launched just last November. And so it's only been around a little over 6 months. And so this makes it very easy to find, subscribe to, and use third-party data in the cloud. So if you're a data provider, this provides a new channel to monetize that data and also removes the need to build and maintain infrastructure for the data storage, delivery, billing, and entitling, enabling you to reach millions of AWS customers migrating to the cloud. And for FinTechs, if you're looking to find more data sources to train and test your models, this is also a useful tool to find those data sets. And finally, we have AWS Connections. And so another way we bridge the gap between our startup and enterprise customers. So we work with enterprises to uncover their business needs or challenges and introduce them to startups that are going to provide a relevant solution. So this is just a sampling of some of the most relevant programs we have available. And really what I want you to come away with is based on your target customers and business needs, we have a variety of different ways we can support and help to grow your business. And really we'll have a customized journey for you at AWS depending on what's most useful to you. Okay, so we're talking a lot about startups. This is a FinTech event. So you want to know why FinTechs are building on AWS. So in all of my conversations, I came from working in large financial institutions and also running capital markets at a couple lending startups. And so security and compliance is a top priority. So that's whether you are a B2C company and you're handling sensitive customer data, or you're B2B and you're selling to highly regulated institutions, AWS is the most secure, most compliant, and resilient cloud that's out there. So our core infrastructure meets the most stringent security requirements. We work with customers such as Capital One and big banks, but also government organizations. So we really understand the unique security, regulation, and compliance obligations that our financial services customers are going to face, especially on a global scale. That brings us to the next reason. You can go global in a minute. So many of our companies based in Israel are looking to sell to customers globally. And so our infrastructure, we're in 69 availability zones over 22 regions. And what that just means is if you're selling to customers around the globe or expanding your operations, you can easily do that with AWS. Next, we have a kind of very comprehensive artificial intelligence and machine learning services. So that's been a big topic of late. This could be its own presentation. So if you have kind of more questions about our machine learning capabilities, happy to talk more and go into some case studies. But really, we allow developers and marketers of all skill levels to create very hyper-personalized experiences, offers, and messages to enhance your customer engagements. And then really, building on AWS, startups are choosing us because I've talked a little bit about the startup programs and how we really focus on startups and care deeply about their success. But we also have very deep financial services success. And so you can see right here, we're partnering with some largest banks, insurers, exchanges, asset managers, are all building on AWS. So we take the experience we have working with these customers and also what the up and coming fintech. So we've clearly established AWS as a market leader among financial services and fintech customers. And when you look at the Forbes FinTech 50, this is a listing of the most innovative fintech customers. Last year, 100% of those 50 companies were running workloads on AWS. So you're in good company if you choose to build on our platform. So I'm going to finish up with just a couple customer stories. So Stripe, which you may be familiar with, they're an international payment gateway and they're operating in almost 40 countries. They built their infrastructure on AWS from day one. And the reasons that they chose to do that was world-class infrastructure, the scalability that we offer, and the developer-focused nature of Stripe and also of AWS. We're very much a community of builders and developer-focused. So Stripe relies on the security best practices and also the auditability of AWS, and they run a PCI-compliant payment platform. So there's a number of case studies up about them. Certainly a key customer reference. They're handling billions of dollars of transactions every year, and their valuation is sky high as well. And then we have Monzo. They're a UK-based challenger bank. They were founded just over 5 years ago, and they became a fully regulated bank in the UK within just 3 years. And so they have real-time statements available instead of the 48-hour delays typical of some of the larger banks which you've experienced. So by using AWS, they can run a bank with more than 4 million customers, and they only have 8 people on their infrastructure and reliability team, which is just incredible. So as they're continuing to expand and attract users, their team can spend its time and its resources developing new features and not on managing their infrastructure. So they're doing a lot of great work on AWS. And so what I really hope you just take away from my talk is that we have teams dedicated to fintech, to startups, to financial services, and we're here, and our goal to help you be successful on AWS. Because if you're able to build and grow your business, following best practices, following security and compliance, you can be successful. We'll be successful too. And so again, please reach out to your local contacts or anyone on the AWS team if you have any questions. And I hope you all continue to build on AWS. And I'm going to kick it over now to my colleague, Megan Casey, who is a leader in our our partner team for startups and one of our customers' behalf.
Great, thank you very much, Catherine. This was very interesting, and as you mentioned, we're going to have another use case with AWS and Behalf. Just a side note before that, AWS is also a great sponsor of FinTech-Aviv and a wonderful partner. And I think it's worth mentioning that AWS offers $10,000 of AWS credits for any startup at FinTech-Aviv community. So everyone out there, just reach out and we'll connect you or connect directly. But we want to thank you for this really generous offer. So next up, we have Megan Casey, Global Startups at Amazon Web Services, and hosting Benji Feinberg, who is the CEO at Behalf. I guess I saw you're both here.
Hi, thank you
Megan.
so much, Tal, for the introduction, and Catherine for the overview of AWS for FinTechs, and to the whole FinTech-Aviv community for hosting us. So I'm Megan Casey, and like Tal said, I'm a global startup partner manager at AWS. And I've had the pleasure of working with and collaborating with Behalf for over a year now at AWS. For those of you that don't know or aren't familiar with Behalf, Behalf is an on-demand financing solution that facilitates B2B, business-to-business payments. And after over a year of our teams collaborating and working together, Behalf is now a AWS Partner Network global startup partner as an advanced technology partner in the AWS Partner Network. Last year, Behalf achieved the Financial Services Competency, which is our best-in-class designation for technology partners with AWS to go to market with AWS. So congratulations to the Behalf team for that achievement. And lastly, Behalf also offers business financing and fast payments to Amazon sellers on the Amazon marketplace. So just to kick it off, a big thank you to the entire team at Behalf for all the collaboration over this year plus of working together. Today, I'm thrilled to get to have a fireside chat with the co-founder and CEO of Behalf, Benji Feinberg. So Benji, I hope you're doing well today. And the first question is, Benji, please tell us about yourself and your background before you founded Behalf.
Thank you very much for having me, Megan, and thank you everyone for listening. Yeah, I've got a varied background. I grew up in South Africa. I moved and I lived in a number of different countries, studied law. Then I went and worked in finance. Then I decided that I kind of am more of a startup kind of person. So I started trying to innovate and build businesses. Obviously failed a number of times. And then I started becoming more successful. I started a telecommunications company in Eastern Europe. And now at some point, the idea for Behalf came together and we started that in 2011, 12.
Thanks, Benji. Well, that brings us to maybe the origin story. How did you found Behalf, and what's Behalf's origin story?
So I think generally when you start a company, it's a combination of timing, luck, investors, but I think, if I look at it in broad strokes, the world was moving from, let's say, offline to online. Let's say 10, 15 years before we started our company, online companies started popping up. A good example and a fantastic example obviously would be an Amazon. If you think about it, people have been selling books for decades. At some point in 1998, 1999, I'm not exactly sure of the timing, Jeff Bezos said, it's true people have been selling books, but we'll do it with an internet platform. Let's call it that in very simplistic terms. And obviously that became Amazon. But the point is that what there was there, and in a lot of other businesses, was as opposed to technology companies that actually built technology per se and sold that technology. Take, for example, a Microsoft or an Apple, and obviously that's very valid business models also. Companies started arising that didn't sell the technology as a solution, but rather use the technology to take an existing business process, like selling books, I'm using the simplistic example, and just do it better and faster and easier with technology. And I think if you look at what happened across a bunch of industries, that's what happened. I mean, ultimately, there's an old term about using your Rolodex. There's a company now called LinkedIn. There's an idea about, there's accommodation's been around forever. There's a company called Airbnb. People, had rides, had taxis, then it became Uber. So the idea of taking a business concept and using technology has been the foundation for a lot of businesses. And what I think happened more broadly was by 2005, people started saying the same thing about credit or banking or fintech, let's just call that in broad terms, which is there's always been a need for credit, arguably since, stagecoaches took, the bullion across Europe, and instead of bringing the actual money, they started bringing the letters of credit. And that's hundreds of years ago. But people and companies started coming up and saying, let's do this with technology, which again goes back to my analogy of selling books. And we were just another group of founders around that time who saw an opportunity around taking a slice of what banks do and making it better with technology. I think that's what fintech companies do. Typically, startup companies generally take a slice and take a smaller piece of the bigger picture because obviously they've got limited resources. And I also think that fintech in general probably lag behind, like, the selling books example, because there's a lot of compliance, as Catherine mentioned in the previous presentation, and there's a lot of kind of other things that you have to deal with. It's not maybe as simple to start a company there than in a much more unregulated environment. For all those reasons, I think about 10, 15 years after the first wave, we started seeing fintech companies coming about. And we saw an opportunity to fund and use that methodology to fund small businesses at the point of sale. In simplistic terms, you could just say that there's always been banks, there's always been credit officers, there's always been a process to get credit, but to do it with machines and technology in real time at scale is obviously something that can be valuable. So that was the idea that we saw. And again, I'm trying to put it into broader context. It's not very different to a lot of other industries.
And just for folks who are listening in and maybe don't know of Behalf's journey, where is Behalf now on your journey in terms of startup stage, and how long has Behalf been around?
We've been around 8 years, and I'm probably not the right person to say where we are on the stage. We're obviously not a public company. We're obviously not a startup anymore. We're somewhere in between. And we've always got the challenges of growing and kind of dealing with reality like now in today's reality, or the last couple of months, which is obviously very impactful also for us.
Yeah, Benji, I'm curious, in the 8 years since first founding Behalf, what would you say was the original customer pain point or challenge that you set out to solve? And how has that and has that pain point changed today, and if so, how?
It hasn't changed a lot. And the original customer pain point was that as businesses move more online, customers will want to do transactions in real time at the point of sale, as opposed to picking up the phone, sending a fax, physically sending a check or an invoice. So what we saw was that as the world goes to online, maybe historically there was not such a need to do it in real time because you use the phone, you use the fax. But as you and we see it more and more now, and it's been exacerbated by obviously COVID. As you sit at home or sit at work and you do things in a detached manner, then the old ways of paying and the old ways of getting credit don't work. So we actually aimed our business at that point of sale experience in e-commerce when it was more nascent. And obviously as time goes by and more businesses go online, that becomes better and easier for us.
Thank you, Benji. So I said a little bit about our how we've been working with Behalf as an AWS and APN partner, and thank you so much for the partnership. This question is I'd love for you to kind of share or tell us how Behalf's story has been, how Behalf's journey has been as an AWS APN partner, and what it's meant for Behalf's business growth.
So there's actually I would say 3 tracks that we've been working with Amazon with. The first track is obviously as a funder of Amazon sellers, which is kind of an adjacent kind of track, but it's still it's still fundamentally important for us as a business, enable to basically get customers and get sellers from the Amazon network. So that's track number one. But that we've done kind of independently, obviously. The second track is a more detailed, let's say, biz dev track, which still hasn't given fruit yet, but there's a lot of talk and a lot of progress about different ways we can work together. Obviously, Amazon is a huge and powerful company, and there's a lot of ways we can work together. So that's kind of track number two, which also has a whole thread to it. And then obviously, I think on the technology side, which is really more your question, Amazon's been a fantastic partner for us throughout our journey. Again, I'm trying to paint a more broader picture. When I started my career, and I was actually an investor in different startups, you'd have to build a server farm, because you needed servers to do the work. And by definition, that server farm was limited, and it couldn't scale, and it didn't have the security. It didn't have all the things that a cloud, business can have. And fast forward, you now have the ability to just do it all remotely. You don't invest in the infrastructure. It's all outsourced to someone who's much better at it than you. And ultimately, for us, it manifests itself in three places. First of all, as a fintech company that needs to grow and scale, and I think this is more common along a lot of different companies, but it's also for a fintech company, which is as you grow and scale, you definitely need to be able to, you need to be able to do that with a partner that's flexible, and that's been a big thing for us. We moved from a situation to microservices and or distributed services, and that made a big difference to to our ability to scale, and we did that with Amazon. So that's kind of a more general track. Second is that data for us is obviously a very big theme, and our data needs to be consistent between external sources and internal sources, and generally I think that's more specific for fintech companies. And obviously we can do that with Amazon. We did that with Amazon. We leveraged the Amazon AWS MSK, and we've actually got a very nice blog post about that, about our dev team who actually wrote about that. I can send it out for consumption if people would like. And I think the third major area after the growth of the company, and then just generally data as a key factor, is security, which was also alluded to in the talk before. And I think again, compliance, security, it's a huge thing for banks. Given the news of the last few days, it's just generally a huge thing in society, and definitely banks or companies that deal with credit or fintechs have to be able to show to investors, to customers, to regulators that they comply. And you as a smaller company, and even if you 500 employees, you're a small company in the scale of things relative to an Amazon, you don't have the resources to give yourself the support and the defenses and the security that an Amazon can give you. So it's just on all those three fronts, I think it's just very valuable that you can find a partner that can grow and scale with you.
Yeah, and we've seen how much the B2B sellers and the end customers benefit from Behalf Solutions. So it's really been a pleasure to work with you, not only on the digital platform powered by AWS, but also on expanding awareness of your solution and outreach to new customers who can benefit. So thank you for all the collaboration. I'm hoping we have time for two more quick questions, just kind of quick. You've been in the industry for a long time. I would love to hear and perhaps it's being slanted by COVID, but I'd love to hear what you see as the biggest challenge or opportunity in the industry today.
Well, I think there's a lot more of a move to purchasing from remote and just working from remote, and that creates opportunity. Generally, startups or technology companies look for flux, look for change, and obviously in an environment with such an abrupt change, I think that creates opportunity. So that's, I think, where the opportunity is. It's around more consumers moving to remote purchases. I saw an interesting statistic that obviously, we're speaking out of Israel. One of the guys on the news said that what the country did in terms of medical checkups in 3 weeks, they couldn't have done 20 years without COVID, because suddenly everybody just kind of went to their doctors via Zoom, right? And to drive that kind of change through in a regular environment is almost very difficult. So I think that whole remote aspect is the big opportunity. I think there's, the other side of it and the risks are around customer behavior, consumer behavior, because a lot of the modeling and the data that you use just basically becomes irrelevant. You can have a rational person or a rational or a normative business that's functioning in a certain manner for 10 years, 20 years. And this thing comes along and it's something that you almost can't predict for. And that's challenging. But that's also an opportunity again. It's always the same kind of the flip side of the risk reward. It's the flip side of the same question, really.
Yeah, and that's great advice for any serial or aspiring founder to keep in mind. The flip side of some of the biggest challenges out there are opportunities. I'll close with a question about that. One sentence, if you can sum it up. I think most of the audience on the call today are founders, or maybe in early stage startups or on the earlier side of their startup journey. What advice would you give to those founders who are listening in today?
Stick it out. It's a roller coaster. And my advice and my motto is it's never as good as it looks. Don't get bewildered by that. And it's never as bad as it looks either. Don't get bewildered by that either.
Thank you so much, Benji. It's so nice to hear your wisdom and experience. And thank you. Thank you for sharing your story today.
Thank you. And thank you, Amazon, and everybody for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We had Megan Casey from Amazon Web Services, and we had Benji Feinberg, CEO of Behalf. I really hope you didn't miss that. So thank you very much for this really inspiring fireside chat. Up next, we'll have Julia Eitler. Julia is API Product Manager at Finastra. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. So hello, everybody. I'm very excited to participate in this event. My name is Julia Eidler, and I'm the API's product manager at Finastra. So in the next 10 minutes, I will introduce you to our company, who we are, what is our business, who are our customers, and then take you through the fascinating journey we're going through these days, specifically focusing on our cloud strategy, and even more importantly, our unique platform solution, fusionfabric.cloud, or in short, FFDC. So Finastra fact, Finastra is one of the 3 largest fintechs in the world. It was formed in 2017 by the combination of MySys and D&H, and former FinTech, for those of you who might know. We currently count more than 10,000 employees spread across 70 offices worldwide. In our business, we address about 70% of the financial market industry. We have a very large and global footprint, as well as deep domain expertise, which allow us to serve clients of all sizes across 130 countries, spanning retail, transaction banking, lending, and treasury and capital markets. Finastra has $1.9 billion in revenues and over 8.5 thousand customers, including 90 of the top 100 banks globally. As I mentioned, Finastra has the broadest and the deepest range of pre-integrated solutions on the market. We are comprised of several lines of businesses. My focus is payments, part of transaction banking line of business. So this is how we typically deploy our Fusion Global Pay Plus. On the left, you can see all the customer-facing channels. It could be a mobile app, it could be a corporate channel, or a customer working in the branch and willing to initiate a transaction. At the bottom, you can see all the bank applications. So when transaction runs through the process, It integrates with different systems like FX Engine for conversion, balance check, accounting, fraud and compliance screening, etc. On the right-hand side, you see all the clearing houses we are integrated with. So we have a broad coverage in terms of complying with different clearing schemes like SWIFT, RTGS, ACH, real-time schemes. And in the heart of it is our payment hub, Global Pay Plus. We have different modules inside our payment engine. I will give you a few examples. So we have our high value module, which processes high value transactions, mostly SWIFT and RTGS payments. Our mass payment module can process bulk and file-based payments. So typically it would be credit transfers. An example is a government who wants to pay salaries to his employees, for example, or direct debits is when the electricity company would want to collect bills from its customers. We have an immediate payment rail, and this is about instant payments. Transactions in this case are processed instantly, and from the time the payment is initiated till the time the payment reaches its destination pass between 10 and 15 seconds. So eventually there are integration channels. Channels are integrated to Global Pay Plus, to the clearings through different types of interfaces. It can be via MQ, Open API, files, web services, and etc. So what is next? Basically, I believe that by now you are, have a general understanding of who we are, what is the level of business expertise we bring to the market, and our giant footprint. Next thing that happened in Finastra, the greatest minds of Finastra started to think, what will be the main differentiator? How can we become even more attractive to the market? How can we bring more innovation? How can we create the greatest user experience? And how can we reduce the time to market, but at the same time introduce a wide range of cool and innovative services for our customer base? And the answer is collaboration is the new innovation. So in June 2019, Finastra has launched its brand new platform, FusionFabric.cloud. Finastra has changed the way modern banking software is built and distributed. The idea is to open up our core systems in retail banking, payments, lending, corporate banking, and treasury and capital markets with open APIs, and enable financial institutions and other third parties to develop applications that work with them. With this model, innovative applications can be developed quickly and at low cost. Financial institutions can transform their customer propositions and drive efficiencies, while fintechs and developers can accelerate new market opportunities. FusionFabric.cloud helps transforming the financial services industry in the same way as the mobile app store have transformed our day-to-day life. So let's look at the ecosystem. FusionFabric.cloud unlocks innovation, and by fostering collaboration within an ecosystem of development partners, it opens up Finastra core systems via APIs to all players in the financial services ecosystem. It could be banks, fintechs, system integrators, independent developers, consultants, and the students. So imagine you are a developer or a fintech looking to disrupt the market, or a financial institution looking to build a new app easily. What you need to do is access APIs from the Finastra core system to start building innovative apps, or integrate your existing apps to expand your reach to financial institutions. So what are the creation steps for the new app? It's very simple. Discover available APIs in the FFDC catalog, which I will show you in a minute. Build your app in the development portal, and start monetizing your app on the Fusion store. As you can see, Finastra creates the accretive feedback loop. So more producers, more consumers, more intelligent apps, more data and data-driven services that can be offered on top. This is just an example of our open API catalog on FFDC. As you can see, it's an easy to navigate, self-explanatory. You can go and just check what we have available and start thinking about ideas how you can integrate with us. I'm coming back to the slide that I showed you before, GPP as it was traditionally, but now with the small addition of Fusion Fabric.cloud. So it's a small window, which I believe opens up for the great deal of opportunities for everyone. So how does cloud fit into our story? The answer is cloud fit natively. Our product has a very rich customer base in US. We're serving around 250 tier 3, 4 banks through our data centers in US today. So as a first strategic move, we gradually started shifting and lifting those customers to our cloud Azure environment. And in parallel, we're developing the next generation of our product, a cloud native solution which is built using open microservices architecture with multi-tenancy capabilities, which efficiently utilizes cloud services and obviously integrates with Fusion Fabric.cloud. We are Azure first company. Our cloud solution is deployed on Microsoft Azure for Finastra managed services, which include our SaaS multi-tenant solution and also customers' private dedicated SaaS solution, but we're also cloud agnostic, meaning customers who manage and would like to introduce their own cloud, we would be able to deploy our software as well. So worth mentioning that cloud and FFDC is our global strategy, and it's obviously applicable for other geographies like Europe and South Africa. So finally, before I close, I just want to say that if you would like to explore integrating with Finastra, FFDC, and be part of our marketplace, you are welcome to get in touch with us. Details for connecting and special offer for FinTech-Aviv members appear on our website. And again, thank you very much for hosting me. Join us in this journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yulia. As I mentioned, for those of you who missed, Yulia is an API product manager at Finastra. Thank you. Finastra is a great offering for startups, for fintechs. So feel free to approach either through us or through the contact that you see on the website. Next, we have with us for a keynote, Mr. Chirag Sangani. I really hope I pronounced that correctly. Chirag is a director cloud proposition at Refinitiv. Chirag, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'm
okay,
just
wonderful.
Share my screen.
Please.
Yep.
So, all right, we see you. Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody, and for giving me the opportunity to take you all through a quick presentation on Refinitiv, who we are. So Refinitiv is, only if I can go to the next slide. Yes, now I can. So Refinitiv is been in the market data industry for a long, long time. We have a long history and legacy, which is attuned to how we are doing business in the latest online world and how we are able to support our clients through these crises. All our products are quite able to manage the increased workloads. We as a company have come from a history of Reuters and then Thomson family acquisition. We are the world's largest provider of aggregated market data. We aggregate more than 440 different exchanges globally. We have data coming from fixed income, FX, money markets, equities, and we have the depth that is unparalleled to anybody else. We have few competition in the space, but we serve all the largest banks. We serve are very much focused on serving the buy side community, the sell side community, corporates. So we have the depth and the breadth of coverage within our database. We also have a strong and budding interaction with the fintech industry globally. Uh, any fintech firms that are looking for financial information, financial market data for modeling, for quant analysis, for data science purposes, y'all can have a look at our data catalog, play around with our data, and make sure that you can use them in the right format. We are always here to help out. Why am I here and what are we doing today? So what we do is a lot of our products were always on-prem, and over the years we have started moving our propositions and products onto cloud. We started our journey by moving our backend technology into AWS, and that's how we've reached a place where we are comfortable with cloud. And once we started doing that, we then initiated this Refinitiv Cloud survey that we do now on a yearly basis. You will be able to find this on our website. It's a very interesting survey because what you try to capture is understand how the IT spends are evolving within the large financial institutions and our clients, how they're adopting cloud. And this also allows us to play back some of our experiences that we have undertaken in terms of moving ourselves to the cloud and what it really means to be cloud native or be multi-cloud. So the global trends that we see when we started moving to clouds or when we started interacting with our customers is that there is an increased need for digitization in customer workflow. As we all are very much familiar with, Zoom is a good example. There is also a need where customers don't want to do a lot of extract, transform, and load processes, where they want data readily available in cloud native formats. Good example, can we get the data in AWS S3 format? Can we get the data in Google BigQuery format? Can you make sure that your data is available in Azure blob storage or data warehouse? So what we work with our customers is we make sure that all our data sets can be natively available in different formats. And I'll take you through some of the products that we have launched specifically in this space to meet our customer demands. If we take a step back and just look at the journey of cloud service providers, if you look at the cloud space today, the cloud offers us a lot of efficiency, elasticity, gives us the ability for cost reductions, gives us the ability to create offerings and solutions and take them to market much, much quicker than it could have been possible before the world where cloud did not exist. In that sense, what is the financial services looking for? Financial services dealing with a lot of data explosion, a lot of data growth. We have the concept of ESG. There's increased automation going around within different elements of the financial services industry. Obviously, KYC, know your customers, and the regulatory checks are increasing. You have the habits you have alternative data, which is booming and which is a very relevant data point for our customers for alpha generation. And then you have a very different market when it comes to emerging markets and frontier markets, where the markets are still evolving and catching up in terms of the depth and the number of stocks and the instruments that get listed over there. So if we combine all of this, it means that we as Refinitiv have to evolve to make sure that we meet our customers in the right format and the right manner that they want us to meet. We continue to provide them the data that can be easily consumed. We allow them easy access to our data sets with unified APIs, consistent API, consistent data models. And then we also help them with better accesses across the world. So we know that cloud does create regional challenges in certain geographies. So we have to make sure that we are in the right location, in the right region. So the way we have combined or gone about changing our backend is we have started moving a lot of our data sets which resided across on-prem co-locations or different databases of records globally into something called Refinitiv Data Platform, which is going to be a single unified platform hosted and sitting and using AWS on the backend as a technology provider, allowing us to provide our customers with a very simplified experience. If they want to take our data through feeds, they will get a very consistent result between our feeds, APIs, and our desktop products. And the way we went about doing it is we have lots of data which spans from pricing coming from exchanges to bond terms and conditions coming from issuers. We have forecasts coming from analysts. We have all the mutual funds and ETF information coming through our Lipper database. We have news, which comes from Reuters News. And then we have the KYC product, which is Know Your Customer and the risk offerings, which is part of our World Check solution, which is widely used across the industry for KYC onboarding. A lot of fintechs firms also use this when they are venturing and onboarding new customers onto their apps. And then all of this links to our entitlement systems. So entitlements are very crucial when we talk about financial services, because if you don't have the right entitlement system, and if it's not granular enough, the cost of using financial data really shoots up. And then we are building these platform capabilities on the back end to start servicing our customers across different use cases. And you can see these use cases will be very, very diverse, from powering websites to help them with M&A advisory, helping them with trading applications, alpha generation, quant analysis, backtesting, capital raising, trade support. So we are in quite a diverse range of activities within Refinitiv. And the aim is that a single platform should serve different use cases, not only to our internal products, but also to our customer products and also to our partner applications, so that you all can start consuming our data in a very standard, seamless experience and seamless manner. If we look at how we have transformed our business, we are launching a lot of different offerings of our existing propositions in different clouds. So we have the real-time business, which is taking real-time data from exchanges, providing latency-sensitive feeds to our customers, which power their trading applications. But then for a lot of customers who are not latency sensitive and want data through our cloud offering, we offer that through our AWS instance. We have recently launched our tick history offering in Google Cloud. What we are doing over here is we are natively providing our data in the BigQuery format, so our customers can easily consume them for the research purposes, for data science purposes, for quant research, quant analytics, and for any idea generation, making it really, really seamless and easy for our customers to consume our data. Then how are we? What else are we doing? What are we doing now is we have started to use the microservices of cloud of different cloud providers. In this instance, what we are doing is we are exposing our proprietary calculators for pricing instruments, complex and simple. So if you look at pricing a simple instrument, it would be an equity swap or an equity option, to more complex instruments like CDSs and convertibles. We are opening up our calculator library, combining with the compute of AWS to provide you a derived API service where you just have to write the parameter, request that into our AWS service, and you just get the derived output. So you don't have to worry about raw data entitlements. You don't have to worry about downloading the data, manipulating the data to get your output. You just get the derived output directly from us. QA Point is an offering that we have through Microsoft Azure. This is very much focused for our quant use case and our quant users, where they get a lot of information from fundamentals to estimates to company filings, all in a single product, so that they don't have to kind of go into different data sets to find the right information. And as you can see, we are working with multiple cloud providers. Obviously, our initial or the main cloud provider that we work heavily with is AWS, but we are trying to be multi-cloud and work with the cloud providers based on the customer feedback that we get and based on the demand that we see coming for different cloud providers services and the demand for those services. And the last one over here that I'm showing is the World Check product, where we have launched an API for you all to do your KYC checks and against if you're onboarding a new customer in whichever fintech, in whichever business you are starting, if you need to do KYC checks, and screening, you can use our World Check One API to do that screening before you onboard that customer into your app or into your ecosystem. That was the quick intro that I wanted to give in 10 minutes around Refinitiv and what we are really doing around cloud and how we are responding to our customer needs.
Thank you very much, Chirag. Chirag, as I mentioned, is Director, Cloud Proposition at Refinitiv. Thank you for describing your relative position and how you utilize cloud services and how you use cloud to support both your clients and partners. Lastly, we have with us Thomas Carbonell, Public Cloud Sales Manager, South Europe at Palo Alto Networks. Hi, Thomas.
Hello, Tal. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for joining us. You can share your slide and.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be sharing my desktop right now. Can you see it correctly?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you, Tal. So it's a pleasure for me joining you today, having the opportunity of talking to you about Prisma Cloud, talking about cloud security and how we can help any fintech company, increasing the secure level and reduce the exposure of any of your applications. So my name is Thomas Carbonell. I am running the sales team of Prisma Cloud in the Mediterranean region, Israel, Turkey, and South Africa. And over the next 10 minutes, I'll be talking to you a little bit more about public cloud adoption and securing cloud-native applications. Before starting, I just wanted, basically not saying nothing new for you. Fintechs are cloud-native. You don't really need to do a transformation, digital transformation. You have been born as a native company. And what it means is that any of your applications are massively scalable, and you support any type of interfaces, devices. You're using CI/CD processes. You are fully into the DevOps methodology, and these are the common characteristics of any cloud-native application. And you have built your competitive advantage on top of this digital transformation, on this cloud-native. No matter which use cases you are monetizing, either they are big data or you're using machine learning, artificial intelligence, or increasing or improving the customer experience or stock prediction, whatever you're doing. Basically, fintechs are cloud-native without any type of doubt. And as you're using DevOps methodologies, you know that DevOps teams are all about continuous releases, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and everything is a sprint for your teams. You really suffer time to market. And what we see when we talk to some of these companies, fintechs especially, is that not every company is adopting security natively as part of this DevOps cycle. What means is that traditionally security has been a runtime issue. We have had applications that has been delivered, and that's the specific moment in time when companies have been securing their applications. Well, this is true, this is still there, but this is not valid anymore at all. We now need to think on securing the whole life cycle of this application, from when it starts being coded by the developers, IDEs, moving forward to the source code managers, registries, repositories, CI tools, and any type of platform that you are using. And in the financial market, let's say for any fintech company, this is very, very important, because you are a highly regulated market. You are a top targeted market. There is malware. There are malware campaigns coming up every single week, targeting fintech companies and financial institutions, broadly speaking. So basically that's our goal: how to integrate security in a cloud-native environment, no matter what you are deploying your applications, especially when you are deploying them on the public cloud. and under a cloud-native approach. And yeah, what we see as well is that this speed, this velocity, and agility always comes with a downside. It means that we see lots of companies deploying infrastructure using automation languages like CloudFormation or Terraform, and they are basically applying insecure configurations, or they're deploying containers in a default way with what makes them really vulnerable. Even companies that they are doing lift and shift, they are deploying traditional applications in the cloud. We see 24% of them hosts being vulnerable, and all these leads into big compliance risk that we really need to think of and we really need to fix. Moving forward, let me go very quickly on the top 5 reasons why fintech companies are using Prisma Cloud. We are lucky that the financial institution, financial sector is one of our most profitable ones. Let's say we've got tons of references there. Even some of the companies that has been talking today in this session, they're using Prisma Cloud to secure their applications, their fintech applications. So I'll be talking about why we are offering a comprehensive and integrated approach, and this is a platform approach, not anymore about point products. And how this industry, security industry, is very much oriented into point products. We provide you a full software lifecycle approach. I already mentioned we are covering the build, ship, and run phases, provide coverage across any cloud stack or application, basically, and we will look at it as well. And of course, nothing happens, or any security tool cannot succeed if you cannot operationalize, right? So we'll talk a little bit how to operationalize it as well. How we do it? Basically, Palo Alto Networks has done a massive investment over the last 18 months. We have invested over $2 billion acquiring the best technology in the market, but also augmenting it with our internal capabilities. And we have acquired 5 companies that we have integrated into a single platform with a single agent, management UI, and a single SKU at all. Some of these logos may sound familiar to you. They're not anymore in the market. They are all under the same Prisma Cloud platform. And within this platform, we are delivering a set of capabilities around 4 big use cases. First one is visibility, compliance, and governance. And this is especially important for CISOs. They want to, know what is running in the cloud, how we are doing with different compliance frameworks like GDPR, ISO, PCI, whatever, right? You need to have a continuous assessment on these frameworks. And moving forward, we are providing complete security. We are looking into the workloads. We are looking into the operating system. We're looking into the Kubernetes layer, Docker layer, any Istio layer, and we are looking for vulnerabilities, runtime security, and application security. We also cover network protection from a microsegmentation standpoint and anomaly detection capabilities. And finally, we provide you an identity security module that, because in the cloud, everything is around AAMs. So we need to make sure that our credentials are safe, you are rotating the keys when you have to, you are not overexposing your resources, etc. And we do this across the whole cycle, right? We look at your stack, whatever your stack is, your IDEs, your CI tools, CD tools, etc. And we try to integrate into that ecosystem because we believe that security needs to be natively embedded into the cycle, not the other way around. We don't want to force DevOps. We don't want to force developers to basically jump into a separated console and look into a separated product. We need to embed security into that cycle. So that's why we are providing great support of any type of stack environment, whatever your registries are, your CI tools are, even whatever you are deploying your infrastructure across the following public cloud providers. And also, as well, we are supporting on-prem deployments when you are thinking on any container or Kubernetes approach. And more than this, we have a lot of experience to make it operational. And we think of 60 days, less than 60 days to have this tool fully operational. And we provide you with a customer success team that will guide you through the onboarding, customization, training, and sharing the best experience, that we have in order to make a successful deployment in your case. So finally, last but not least, is a one SKU. It's a single product that gives you all these benefits around compliance, compute, network, and identity for any type of workload you are deploying, no matter in which cloud provider. We are extremely happy of, in such a short period of time, having 50% of Fortune 100 customers relying on Prisma Cloud. And some of these are around the banking and finance industries, fintech companies, but not only that, high-tech companies as well, media, retail, healthcare, or even government organizations. So I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. And if you wanna, continue or start a evaluation, please go to https://marketplace.paloaltonetworks.com and sign up for a free trial. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to go through them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Thomas Carbonell is Public Cloud Sales Manager, South Europe at Palo Alto Network. Thank you for this really amazing presentation and your current value proposition.
Thank you, Tom.
Dear friend, this really concludes our event for today. We want to thank all of you for joining us on the website, and all our wonderful speakers and sponsors for helping us build such a wonderful event about cloud adoption, market penetration, how to utilize cloud today in these really insane times that we have to sit like this and enjoy events. Please stay tuned for our next online event. On top of that, we are orchestrating a job fair soon, as soon as it will be possible to have a physical event, as restrictions are being loosened. We expect it to be in the next, say, 2 months. So we encourage all our partners, any company, financial institution, VC, FinTech, who are looking to, let's say, hire new hiring in these insane times, please approach us for the job fair, and we'd love to give you some more information about it. So thank you very much. Stay safe, stay sane, and hope to see you physically very soon. Bye, everybody.